to do. Candles going up and down, get in and grab that money. Don't listen to that market clown. Mark Hayes is just a dummy. Getting short, getting long. Johnny's in the know. Ain't no better place you're gonna go. Listen to his rockstar show, Day Trading Radio. Yeah. Sup girl, Learjet, Vegas, Dave and Gas. NC Dave and RPM's a blast. Disco Pete, Rock Warbucks, Cousin Vinny too. Mr. Land brings his news and blue. Now what you gonna do? Candles going up and down, get in and grab your money. Don't listen to the market clowns. Kramer's just a dummy. Getting short, getting long. Johnny's in the know. Ain't no better place you're gonna go. Listen to his rockstar show, Day Trading Radio. Candles going up and down, get in and grab the money. Don't listen to the market clown, 'cause Springer's just a dummy. Getting short, getting long. Johnny's in the know. Ain't no better place you're gonna go. Listen to his rockstar show, Day Trading Radio.
Yeah. All right. All right, man. That was the great JD. Turn that down like a real DJ. Man, that song is good. I have it pumping through the main channel right now. I have it pumping through like your you know, where I talk, so I get to hear it with my headphones on, and I can't. I mean, it was so great to get Don Henley to sing that for us. Or who was it? Yeah, was it Don Henley? It was JD. You can't tell the difference, I don't think. What a great song that is. I want to start the show off with that. It gave me some great ideas when I was listening to that song too. I need a video. We need a video for that. We need a music video for that song, and it has so many different different things that you could easily overlay, like little, however you make a video. You have to overlay some pictures. I'm thinking like a collage of pictures and like, like I mentioned Kramer, and have Kramer, and then candle. Candles. That is my favorite line right there. Candles going up and down. Get in and grab your money. All right, welcome everyone back here with you for an after hours research session, and then we're going to have some movie night tonight for members of Day Trading Radio. You listen to DayTraderRadio.com, broadcasting the markets every single day since 2007. We start off at about 7:30 in the morning, Eastern Time, AM. Get in here. We open up. We find the stocks to trade. We trade them. We have a great community, great chat room right now. I see people getting in it, listening to the show and saying hi. That's how they communicate here. I go kind of, I'm the DJ. So, with that said, We're going to do a little research here. I'm going to try to do it fast to get it done around 8 o'clock. So it gives us about an hour of research here. And I have a few things on my list here that I need to take care of. First of all, we're always looking for the stocks, and I'm looking at after hour. Usually a couple of things you want to know is, post-market, after-hour session, pre-market session. The market lasts longer than from 9:30 to 4. And there's a lot of good money to be made after hours and pre-market, especially probably in a combination of both. They're just as equal. I like pre-market because, a lot of news gets released. There's, the effects of the previous night, gap up. But what I've been seeing is, those early moves that you get in the pre-market, you have to be up to get out of them. You have to be, actively there, or at least have an order in to get triggered. Sometimes these things will pop 50 to 100% and then come back down by the time market opens up. They're right down, sometimes lower than what they were. These are, this market is a different beast. This is not about investing anymore. It's about profiting. And even good news, you would think would move a stock. Well, sometimes will pop it, and then all the sellers are getting out because they're going to take that money out and they're going to move it to something else. So they're always trying to keep that money moving. So even if you get good news, you don't wonder why that doesn't. It's just that maybe longer term they'll adjust and the bigger trend will be up. But for a trader to understand that, these are traders that are controlling this market now. So you have more traders controlling the market than investors. You're getting big swings, big intraday swings, but longer term, it usually works out. Like if you could worry about the 20 to 40 point moves in Google each day, knowing that you're looking at overall a nice long strong uptrend. So let's see, markets are open. Markets opened up here at 6 o'clock post market, and you can see we gapped down. We're down 10 points right now, 1050 on the ES, and this is after a Fed meeting today. And not to go into that in too much detail, I thought the press conference was pretty decent. You could see what happened here. The market at the time of the release here, it's been kind of weak and kind of sideways going into this, and there was so many eyeballs on this that it was meant to give you this big reaction. It did. It dropped all the way down fast, and it popped, and then it kind of trended down, holding on to those key moving averages to the downside, the 20, the 50, and then at this point we even noticed it was kind of starting to have a hold here. It wasn't aggressively selling off, and from that point on we had a nice bounce. And Fed Chair Powell was also talking, and he kind of pushed it up, and it looked overall pretty good. But then we kind of had that fade at the end of the day. And where am I now? And this is where we are now. This is where we are now. We continue to fade. And remember, these are the lows yesterday. It's going to be a tough call going from here. Downside is there. There's another thing that I wanted to go over, and it was called the June swoon. And Kramer did a video on this. And I know if I put the video on this video, it won't go. They'll call me on a copyright infringement thing. So it's hard for me. I'm going to play it during the members only. But basically, historically, let me see if I could actually. I think I have it queued up here somewhere. I don't know if I have it queued up or not. I thought I did. Oh yeah. Let me see if I could hear it in the background.
Okay. It means selling either this Friday or next Monday, the 18th or the 21st.
So basically, he's put.
Okay. It means selling either
this is what. Listen, hold on. I'm gonna go back.
The second to last week is when you ideally want to ring the register, or again, if you're so inclined, you can go short. In particular, you would have seen the best performance selling the S&P on the 8th or 9th last trading day of the month. In 2021, write this down, okay? It means selling either this Friday or next Monday, the 18th or the 21st. You got those dates? Friday or Monday. I need you to write that down because I think it's going to happen. If that's the sweet spot to sell, how long before you swap back in? All right, check out this table. Looking at the last 22 years, if you sold the S&P on the 8th to last trading day of June, and then bought it back on the first profitable opening after 3 days, you made money how often? 60, 50? How about 100% of the time? However, if you waited a little longer and sold on the first profitable opening after 5 days, you actually made the most money, even if it only worked 21 out of 22
Wow.
days. The only year that didn't work was in 2011. Come on, that was a crazy roller coaster market that kept being slapped around by European financial woes and the totally man-made U.S. debt ceiling crisis. We don't have anything like those two, so I'm not that worried.
So anyway, he was going into this, and it makes some sense. I mean, that's we're leading into it. Tomorrow's Thursday. That means Friday. He's looking Friday or Monday to see some market really selling, and probably it could even start tomorrow. I mean, why not? You know, have if anything, we'll see. We could have some damage done in the next few days. And remember where we are in the S&P, just to kind of review that. We follow this all day long, and you know, during the day, you know, we're always trying to look for opportunities to trade different, I call them vehicles. You could trade the futures, you could trade the options, you could trade stocks. Typically what we'll see here at Day Trading Radio, what I'll trade. And I tend to get into a groove on doing one or two. I usually mix it up between options and stocks, but I, you know, so much want to, and I do trade futures. I just seem to get, you know, doing the show and everything, it's very hard to just switch like that and be on you know, on what's the word I'm looking, on point for that type of trading. I'm more prone to finding the trades I can be in for 5 to 7, you know, maybe not days, but that would be good. That wouldn't mind me. But from that maybe couple days to 5 day period, you know, capturing that running move. Usually when we have a 60-minute stochastic starting to move back up, it'll give us multiple candles. And depending on how that looks, you know, with the daily, I'd like to see that daily also pointing up also. So when we have those things, we like to go long, and you got to say when that you have those things, the opposite, you have to consider going short. So all these things are adding up. They're all adding up. I mean, even on the 60-minute here today, we could see yesterday we had what we call, and this is our bread and butter trade. You know, it's a divergence. Now, I didn't take the divergence. We did notice it. There's one thing between seeing a setup and taking it. It's very important that if you do see something, you believe in it, you should be taking it. But at that point, the market was kind of breaking out, and we had a candle, and you can see we kind of failed here. We pulled back, and it was this pretty tight trend line underneath us. We hit it here on this pullback, here, and then you know what? Here comes the Fed. Here comes the Fed news, and that's what really caused us to kind of start to break down. Well, here's the breakdown. Well, we started breaking down before that, going into this, but this whole day was kind of a tough day to deal with because there was nothing going on. It was a drop right before the Fed, and the Fed continued to drop. Then we got a bounce. So we watched that 60 minutes. 60 minutes oversold now. And what's really interesting is this trend line. Now this trend line, I went over it today on the show, goes all the way back here to the pandemic low. That is it. That's where the rally began. If we grab that trend line here, and this could be off 5 to 10 points based off just the size of the trend line and making sure where you line it up. I'm pretty much just eyeballing it at this point. And that's okay for this because I know I'm in an area and I'm not going to pinpoint this, but I also want to point out, you know, levels like this. So we did bounce aggressively right off of that level. I mean, that's amazing how we came right down to it and bounced off of it. So there is some technicals that if we do continue to turn over here and break down through this chart, that would be the first significant kind of trend break. I mean, you could drop this trend line down to the extension bar right here, but give us a little bit more room. But the fact is, stochastics haven't made a rotation in quite a while. You know, that it wouldn't be bad to see that. I mean, when I say bad, it wouldn't be unhealthy to see that. Eventually, you do have these rotations, and it's part of the natural progression of the market. The weekly is also really extended here. But are we at the point where we could easily call this? This is the first, well, there was a time over here we were testing that trend line. This is another time we're testing it. These are important areas.
Order filled. Order canceled.
The other side of the
Order
coin
canceled.
at this point is, maybe this is just what it's going to work constantly. That each opportunity you have on the pullback, the problem is it's not an opportunity like here. Here we had the oversold stochastics. That's what I like. Here we had the oversold stochastics. Here we do not have the oversold stochastics. There's still a ways to go. So tomorrow's going to be critical, I think. Going into Friday and Monday, as Kramer said, the June swoon, this is a sell zone. I'll replay that video later today on the members only show later on tonight. So I'll get through that. So there is some interesting levels here on the S&P. There's two ways of looking at it. The strength here could also mean, hey, it's not going down. There's still the underlying indicator here. The momentum is still really pushing to the upside. You almost want to believe that because that was basically what the market is about all the time. So it's hard to bet against it. But I would say this is a critical point right now. That said, the stocks that we're going to start looking at, the overall market starts to break down. It's probably going to put pressure on a lot of different stocks. If you're in them or not, it's not going to work out, most likely. So we have to be concerned, that, and be very cautious if taking anything blindly. If you do believe the market's going to break down, you're going to have, you're going against the tide then. We were able to get out. I got lucky today on my puts. I was able to get out of my puts that I had going into this week, and they expired today. Yeah. And if we didn't have that drop in the market, of course, it would have been destroyed. But it got all the money back and made a little profit on it. I am long a contract, but that, again, as you can see, went against me. So I'm still in that going into tomorrow. See if there is a bounce. The setups now I have, and part of this video, which I'm doing right now, I wanted to and I'm going to do a separate video altogether on it because I think it's a great title, great topic to go over, and it's the different type of trades you'll find here at Day Trading Radio. Different trade setups that we're looking for, and there's three important ones. So I was going to show you what that means, and when we look at three different, I'm always looking for the markets, but I'm having the patience and discipline just to wait for something I'm very familiar with and have a lot of confidence in these certain setups. And you could be in a situation where you don't have that setup every day, and you're really having to be disciplined enough not to get involved in the chop, in the scalp. That's the game I want to play. It's not the game everyone. A lot of people want to be involved in the ins and outs and the aggressive chop in the market. That's fine. That's a different type of trading. And like I said, it's very hard. So what I'm looking for, and I'm pointing out for myself, are these what I call high probability setups, and those fall into a very strict criteria. And it gives us a good edge on a move in the direction of our indicator. And that's broken down. The whole thing is really outlined. The whole, seeing. So I've seen these patterns play out so many times and know where to look, where they're going to go, why, how they set up, feeling good about different things on, the combinations. So that's what we have to wait for is things. So in my research, I bring you those setups, and I'm going to try to bring you a couple new ones today and update some old ones. So let's get started with that. Market's actually rolling over here. We're down 1275. Again, it is 7 o'clock. We have about an hour to go in the after-hour session for stocks. The futures will continue to trade around the clock here. Who knows? Maybe even tonight we could get a trade in if I do see something. It's actually given us some levels to work with. I already have a pivot area down here. It looks like the possibility of a little channel starting to develop. I don't want to get sidetracked here because of what I'm doing. So we went over the S&P. Right, so let's take a look at some new setups. I guess the first one I'm going to push is, I'm very excited about this one. Now, putting out this video to the public probably defeats the purpose of keeping it under the radar. But I've been adding to it and sending out alerts to the members. So, and I know today we really talked about it a lot, and I told everyone what my whole thought process is on that. So hopefully everyone has it. This looks really nice. It's not a typical hype stock, one of these NFT stocks, or one of these Bitcoin or Bitminers or blockchain stocks. As far as I did look this up. Hold on just a second. Let me bring up that page. All right, I'm back here on the ITI here. Now, I did go over I forgot to put the video on this part of it, but I was looking at the traffic cameras at intersections. Again, I'm doing some further research on it. Well, like I said, I like that this is not a crypto or miner or some other made-up thing. This actually has a real product behind it. And some other videos. Now I'm in the process of looking at here's their the Finviz market map on this here. You can see the overhead area resistance here, and that's a big. I like everything about it. I like it. All right, the one thing so we're looking at the some of the key components here. The share float is 41 million. All right, I'll take that. It's not hundreds of millions, but 41 million. That I could work with that, no problem. Shares short float 1%, no big deal. No shorts really in that. Insider transaction caught my eye, 75.77%, and then the EPS this year caught my eye. So we look back here. No real analyst activity on this since 2019, where it had a buy and a $6.50 target on that. But that is, again, that is way past, and that's about it. Iteris reports a fourth quarter loss, beats revenue expectations. I like this. Iteris reports record revenue and backlog for fiscal fourth quarter and full year. I like that. That was all on June 1st. They're participating and have awarded a $3.3 million contract by the city of city of Modesto and Antonio. Another one. So yeah, these cities are paying for this. They're making contracts. It seems like they keep on getting awarded contracts. Milan, pretty good. So it's interesting to see this push up. Another thing about this. All right, here's the revenue. Here's some of the income statements. 2021. So it's going up. This is what I saw here. So the president and CEO has been selling some shares here. At $7. 43,000 left him with 67,000. That's a big chunk of his shares that he sold. Looks like it was more than. And then options. Let's see, options exercised, sale here. Same guy, and then looks like the senior vice president also selling 27,000 shares. I mean, there is a lot of selling going here since this run up here from January on. So, I mean, that's the only kind of a little red flag on that. But other than that, it looks really good. The target on this, I get this question a lot. There's not much you can go with on this. Is just look at measured moves and how this thing usually moves. So, it made a nice move from the low here to this. It pulled back, made the low to that. That's about 583 to 783. Maybe it's a 2-point move, give or take. And that's what I'm thinking. I think we can get through that $8. We get to $10 area. So that's what kind of my target is, 10 to 12. And again, it's one of these stocks that you probably should put your order in to sell. Or whatever. I mean, if you feel good about getting $8, then put some shares at $8. You get it. That's what's going to happen. It's probably going to pop on one of these contract news thing. It'll just be ready, and it'll pop, and the momentum traders will get on board, and they'll push it real fast. Maybe you can get a little bit more on it, but it'll come back fast. But it does look healthy, so that's one of my favorites going forward. Added to that position today too, and it just was banging the table all day in the chat room on this one. ITI. Now we've been in a couple of good ones. The NXPI did pull back today. We had a nice bounce. This was our rotation play, and we had a nice move up. Now it's pulled back today, and again, market was down a lot. I mean, you could find that candlestick on a lot of different things, a lot of tech stocks that we're pulling back. So I'm not going to, look into it too deep, but, rather have seen it going up. All right, back here to the NXPI. And, again, trend line, we'll see if it holds. It's a pretty chart. I mean, it's absolutely a pretty chart. I love this company. We had actually some great option activity recently in this. And this is eventually going higher. This is a stock that I would feel comfortable in. I think this is just a bit, even if it moved back down a little, if you go out further on the options, and I think you're going to be fine. I think you're going to buy the pullbacks on this. This is a really good company. I don't see it slowing down. I think this is a great little cup, and just going to follow back up through 210. Now, I want to really concentrate on this one going forward, and maybe make some kind of position trade on stocks. Right now I have options on this. Again, that's what we call a channel breakout first stochastic rotation trade. So that's one of the three trades you want to find on here. The other trade is the straight up divergence trade. And then the third trade that I'd like to show on here, probably, when we talk about those are the longer term stock trades. The I would say it would be a combination of multiple trend line setups. There is one that I like to. Yeah, I guess it would be this one. It would be what's called a channel line bounce stochastic rotation. This is a channel breakout stochastic rotation. This one is when you have a channel bounce, you come down to the bottom of a channel, and the stochastics are also getting oversold. So it's kind of a 2 indicator setup. It's just like this, but you have your channel line. It's a channel. You have your trend line underneath. You have your oversold stochastics, and you'd like to get a reversal candle lots of times on this. Not, in this case, it didn't really matter, but maybe looking for any type of positive candle to start your trade on that, and a positive candle in most cases is going to be a higher high.
Order filled. Order canceled. Order submitted.
Oh, something just happened
filled.
here. What happened? Did something just drop? Let me check the markets here. Yeah, market just dropped off here. It kind of triggered the market's selling off pretty good. So looking at the next one, we talked about the I ended up getting into a little DraftKings today. Now I know Kathy Woods got into a DKNG. Started to get a bounce. It's pretty decent. A lot of interest in it. I think we go a little further higher tomorrow. It held up pretty good today. Nice bounce on that. Another nice one I would like to take a look at tomorrow if we did have we came back pretty good on a bounce on this one too. Don't go back to that, but This is a bad candle. But when we came down today, we did bounce a little. Now we're kind of drifting after hours, along with the market, of course. 717. Recent earnings and something. I think they had a conference here. This one kind of gapped down, kind of almost closed that gap, pulled back. Volatility in the market today. Other than that, again, whenever you have this type of setup, you know, you have to look at the previous highs, and once you get through that, it's usually a very bullish signal. So that is still on the top of the list here. Excuse me. Today I got into MAPS, MAPS, IPO. Even though it says, I think it's WM Technologies. This is not it. This is. Hold on. Why is this? So I was a little confused on this maps earlier, so I kind of figured it out now. That was the de-spacking and the changing of the symbol. I should have looked into a little bit more on that. Either way, like I said, we're up on the trade, and if I could get that 24 back, I'd take it. Not you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it happens tomorrow. Pre-market, this thing moves a lot on little shares, so we might get a pop pre-market tomorrow. Back up to 24. Whenever we have a pop like this, post-market, or you know, a flash up and it comes right back down, lots of times the next day we'll go up and revisit that. And a good example today was a trade in Screen 10 was in it. It was MicroStrategy. And we were looking at MicroStrategy, wanted to know what I thought of it, and it was at the point from yesterday where we noticed around 2 o'clock yesterday, it gapped up, and it ran, you know, but it just exploded. Well, it wasn't 2 o'clock. Was that 2 o'clock? What? No, it wasn't 2 o'clock. It was the beginning of the day. Not yesterday, a couple days ago on the 60. What was I looking at? Here it is. Here's the 60, sorry. It was on the 14th. I was calling it 2 o'clock, thinking it was on the 5-minute chart or something. So we're looking at it and saying, do we have a shot to get to that 640 area? And, you know, that was yesterday's. The day before is kind of high here, so I definitely expected that. And we got very close to it. I think we got up to 639 and change. Yeah. And it pulled all the way back down here. Still looks pretty good though. You know, I just put a little order in here. I'm just seeing if I can get 100 shares off at maps at 23. So if we do get a pop at 23, I'll take off 100 here. Or we're in at 18 and change. 19 and change. Sorry. All right, so let's go back here. I want to look at just a couple more stocks, and we're going to get ready for movie night here. The someone asked on the Day Trading Radio forum, the Facebook forum, if you go to Day Trading Radio, I'll show you how to do that right now. Or in the Facebook groups, I mean, you go to Facebook and go to the groups here, or however you get to groups. Go to groups. And go to, and this is Day Trading Radio group. That's what it looks like. It's a private group, but you could find it if you do a search for it. And again, it's under it's under Facebook groups. Facebook groups. There's 603 members to make it easy. Question. When you're trading technical analysis of the patterns and news breaks. All right, so this was a good question. I did answer that. Question. When you're trading technical patterns and unexpected news breaks about the company you're watching, does the technical pattern go out the window at that point and all bets are off, or do you just layer into the trade the news and all things that you saw with respect to technical still good data? So I answered this here, and basically I want to just answer it again on this video. I'll just kind of show you here for those. I thought I gave pretty good. I go over a lot on this. I'm showing off the different recent pivot. Well, let's talk about the charts and these patterns that are formed. You know, these, and I call these areas where the market makes a move from a high to, a directional change, moving down, then going up, and going up, and then going down. And these directional changes are pivots. And you use those pivots to really define your channels and stuff. And those pivots are there for a reason. Those, when they have multiple pivots and you draw those lines in between, those lines extend and they become trend lines and channel lines. And those will always be there. That's the history of the stock. There's nothing, nothing's going to change in that. So when you go back I go over this a lot on the charts and recent pivot zones where you place a trend line and it's still valid in the breakdown after the pattern is caused by the new one. So that when the price comes back, so I want to show you an example that I have up here. PA, let me see. So you have a good 1, 2, 3 channel here. And this is, we look at any channel, I could always point out why a stock popped and stuff, and where it's going to go and how it's going to react. Especially if you have, multiple pivots. Now, a pivot is, again, the stock moves up, and then the stock moves down, and then this corner here, this upward move, and then that downward move, that area right there is that pivot zone. So when you have, any change of direction significant where it breaks the trend, that's a pivot. So we start to understand these pivots. So when you have the directional and you have 3 pivots like this, you can draw your first two that connect, and then you draw a parallel trend line. You just clone it and drop it to the third and extend that, and then you watch the market here trade in between those. Now it could trade in between those, and all of a sudden you might have a break of that trend line. Now, what happened here is we broke out. All right, that's a significant breakout. We actually came back and retested, and it looks like there was news here. And there was some kind of news that happened and broke this stock down aggressively. Normally, you probably would have held this area and bounced back up, but for whatever reason, we broke down on news and we came all the way down. But this pivot here and this pivot and the way it acted even here the third time, and these pivots down here are very important. They're going to continue to hold the integrity of the channel. So when the price eventually comes back up to that level, it's going to have that same reaction. It's going to have that same reaction. And that happens 9 times out of 10. So you can have a breakdown, a flush, and you come back into it. If I could find some charts like that, I would show you. I could point out anything. If I just get a couple of charts in front of me here, let me see what I have. We'll take a look at my HPS watch list. I'm just going to do random stocks here, and I'm going to go through a couple just randomly. Again, you're looking for news, and you can see a lot of these things here. Look at this, beautiful. This is a nice channel trade. Eventually got the breakout. This is the one that you want to put in the. These are all money coming down the pipe here. Copy this to what I call the channel breakout first rotation play. So we have a channel breakout, looking for that first rotation to buy into that. Very nice. Again, a lot of stocks, I just go through these and I watch these. let's see what. Yeah, you can kind of tell here. It's not perfect. When I see a pattern like this, I'll draw this trend. I could see the trend. These two pivots work pretty good here. And then I could draw that parallel line, and I drop it right down here to the lower pivot here. And we kind of broke through it. You see how we broke through that for a second? And you could tell when you break through it, there's a reason. There's a reason why you're breaking through it. And it usually comes with volume. And we flush through it, we come back into it. And because of the top trend line, that's a really good, strong trend line. The bottom one, the first 1, 2, 3 pattern that's set up there is the one you want to pay attention to. Usually the one that I'm just going to extend this. And, from that level, you see it tested here, you see it tested here. You actually see it break down through here, but then coming back and testing it again. So it really holds up pretty good. This is a little shaky at this point because there's a lot of wicks here. Not the perfect example, but you get what I mean. This stock right here gives us so many HPS trades. Yeah, first of all, you have the 1, 2, 3 pattern. Then you have a 200 period moving average cutting through a channel line, which sets us up for a 200 EMA breakdown channel line bounce. So whenever you have a channel like this, 200 period moving average cutting through it, whenever the price breaks down in the channel underneath the 200, it bounces off the lower trend line. Now in this case, it followed it down before bouncing, but that trend line is really important. Even though we break down through the 200, people think that's the end of the world. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to see a bounce back up to the 200. In this case, back up to the trend line and chopping around. This could be a possible, definitely a trade to the upside here soon. But I go through these, and sometimes you'll know when the news event breaks down, and if there's something that breaks down, explodes through a pattern. And the price comes back into that pattern is still very valid. It is valid. All right, so that's just a question. And again, that's on the Day Trading Radio Facebook groups. If you have you go there, and then if there's a member, it automatically, I believe, okays you. All right, now we're kind of drifting here. And market here continued to sell off. I might have to take a trade here. What are we down? 15? 15 points right now. AMC here, kind of, let's see where that's going. I know a lot of people in the room are in long AMC today, and they're continuing to be long, and it's definitely in play around that 60 level. GME, I'm surprised at the strength. Holding 210 really strong. Tomorrow will be an interesting day to see these. If these things buck the trend, then I probably want to have a little long in these too, because if the market here continues to sell off and AMC continues to chop around that 60, I do believe it's going to pop. This one had a nice pop at the end of the day. You should pay attention later in the day if these things run back up to the highs of the day. Most likely they're going to break through it. So there's always an opportunity out there. CVM, another one that we're waiting for. This is a pure gamble. Definitely something that could, again, positive news data being on this one. Head and neck cancer has this stock over $40, my belief. And I think if you have negative data come out on this one, this thing's down around $4. So that take it for whatever it is. It's hard to say. There was a 10-year trial. Yeah, I have some long. I have some puts short. Hopefully the balance is right where I profit. But I would like to get like to hold on to those puts going into the. I'm willing to take that gamble because they're not that expensive, and I think they're. But we're gonna have to see that news come out here before July. And I might add to that. I don't know. I really don't know how they're going to report and what's going to report. I do know they are building out their facility and hiring people, and that seems to be something that you wouldn't do unless you felt that your business was going to basically continue to grow. And considering I believe this is the only drug they have, this everything's riding on this drug. It's a 10-year trial. You know, it sounds good. I mean, but I don't know. I was almost thinking earlier today, I said maybe go down there where there's supposed to be construction and go there and talk to the foreman. And they said, no, we haven't been paid or anything. We're not moving. We're not working here. You know, what if they're just lying? I doubt they would do that. But I don't know. I don't have pictures. I want some pictures. Anyway, this is, everyone's waiting for this. So that's going to be in place soon. I heard that Kathy Wood sold her position in NET to buy something else, and that she probably followed me out of this as we had it going into new highs. Let's see what else we have. The SoFi had a good little bounce today on an upgrade. It's also trading near the highs here. We continue to hold that. We have 2 minutes to go before the end of the after-hour session here. So let's just see if anything kind of pops right at the close here. Markets are continuing to sell off. AMC getting a little bounce here. That's pretty active. These people are like really, they're hooked. You know. I had a thing in for what was my price? $23. I had it in for $23, so it doesn't look like it's going to get hit. You can see the activity. Everyone's rushing into AMC right at the end of right at the close here. And we are waiting for that clock to turn. There it is, 8 o'clock. We're done. 8 o'clock. Nice pop here on the AMC right at the close there. All right, just looking at Boeing here, and the bounce. All right, sold off. Kind of gaps up, run into a little problem there. Pulls back. Looks like a day Monday here. Opens up, sells off. Opens up, sells off. Opens up, sells off. I mean, we get down a little bit further and then reverse. So I was seeing if we actually going to get that. I don't know where the stochastics are lying on this. We'll just keep. I'm gonna put it on the 9-3. It'll be a little bit faster. Give us some faster. Yeah, I'm not seeing no divergence there. All right. Just wanted to see. All right. So let me get that over here again. All right, so that's about it. Market's looking a little weak right now. 8 o'clock in a new session starting, and I'm going to send out the video. We're going to get our movie night going and take care of business here. I know what to look for on Boeing when it happens. I'm looking for that trend day to develop, and it's really about waiting through that first half, first sell, that bounce, first sell off, and seeing how it reacts. We want to see new highs after the first hour. Once we start to, notice that trend started, I think we can be very aggressive on Boeing. But remember that 249, the 252 area has been really tough to get through. Once you get clear that, probably 251 starts to smell really good. The sharks will come out and push this thing higher. Market here really selling off right now, down 20 points, and well, it looks like a bloodbath starting right now for an overnight session. Well, we're going to go and I'll continue to talk about this right now, but I'll send this out. I'm going to close this up, and maybe we even keep it on while this is selling off. Let me pull up my futures stuff. I might want to take a couple MES trades in this. All right, let me set that up here. That was pretty steep sell-off. All right, I want to send this out here, but watch for some trading right now. I'll be right with you. DayTraderRadio.com.